I'm happy to see you.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I will. I'm nothing of my question. It's a little bit of a dream job for me. Yeah. Is that crazy? In the sense that I've always been. I've always been. And it's always been like what's my goal today to be something. And really for that heart of hearts. Yeah. Is that very naive of me? Okay. So you found something you like?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't know.
No, I'm thrilled to work in news, honestly. I've got a passion for it through education, if that makes sense. So anything I can do to help with journalists and storytellers, make sure more I see. Yeah, I'm pumped to get this started. I had a feeling I was like, I want to see somebody here. I had a feeling. Here we are. What'll happen?
But I'm glad to see you.
Yeah, glad to see you here. I'm super pumped. I don't know if I guess they haven't announced it internally yet, so hopefully it's not supposed to be soon.
We started anyway, like after the election.
Yeah. I guess a lot of people did, probably, but yeah. I'm excited. It happened a lot faster than expected. I put in my 2 weeks at my old job, and it's like, you go and so that's another story for another time.
Sometimes you guys are.
Oh yeah. Good to see you. All right, sounds good.
Can everybody see that, please? We're about to get this thing started. So, welcome to the 2024 Elections Candidate Forum. I am Anna Robinson. I am a current resident of Jackson, Mississippi. I live in Brandon, but I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. I currently go to JSU, and I am here as a volunteer to also be a moderator for tonight. So thank you so much for having me.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Oh, yes, good evening, good evening. My name is Germany Gray. I am running to be the next Hinds County District 3 Election Commissioner. Thank you. And it brings me so much joy to see all of you here today. I organized this event because I noticed that we haven't had as much attention to these local races that will be on the ballot in November. And so as the next election commissioner, I think the best way to earn your vote, to show that I can do the job is by actually doing the job. As election commissioner, it will be my responsibility to make sure that you all are informed about the elections and how to best decide, what will affect your futures. And so, like she said, Ms. Hannah will be our moderator for today, and she will take it from there. And we will start with our candidates for the Mississippi Supreme Court. So please come to the front.
So to briefly inform the audience, each candidate will be given 90 seconds to give a brief introduction of themselves, and then after that, we will go right into questions for each of them to answer. So first up, we're going to have Brian Carter.
First, I want to thank you for doing this. I think this is what an election commissioner is supposed to do. My name is Byron Carter, running for Supreme Court, Central District, which is 22 counties, from Lauderdale County to Warren County, Bolivar County. So it's like, I say it's kind of shaped like a dog bone. I've been going toward this type of a job, or for this job, or this position, for my entire legal career. I started out after finishing law school, clerked for the Supreme Court for a year, and then after that, I left and went to Alabama, worked for a law firm where I wrote briefs. People had a case that they lost and needed to be appealed. They'd send it to my boss, and then I would write the briefs, and he put his name on it. And then I've been handling cases and appeals in Mississippi and Alabama since. I've got appeal in Hinds County, which is the high for an appeal, but I have one there right now. I've got one in the 11th Circuit, which is in federal court in Atlanta right now. So I've been writing briefs and handling appeals for most of my career, which is almost at 40 years. I learned a lot working for the Supreme Court, and I told them when I left, I said I would be back. I didn't think it would take this long to get back, but I had said when I left there that I would be back. So that's, like I said, that's what I've been targeting in my practice for. I'm a 5th generation Mississippian. I grew up in Northeast Mississippi near Tupelo. My wife grew up in Jackson. Graduated from Forest Hill High School. So I remember shopping in this mall when I first moved to Jackson, but I can't remember where the stores were, but I remember coming here to shop. But I like Jackson, like this whole state of Mississippi, and very quickly I'll tell you something that I've not even told my wife, told my son once, and he said I was crazy. I don't buy lottery tickets often, but when I do, when they get to be a really lot of money, when it's $600 million, and I tell people, okay, I'm running out of time. It's going to be a really good one.
Good afternoon. I'm Fiola James. I'm a lifetime resident of Vicksburg, Mississippi. And you can't hear me?
There you go.
Okay. And I want to start by telling you my qualifications. I'm a graduate of Mississippi College School of Law. And I'm licensed to practice in all state courts, Mississippi Supreme Court, the U.S. District Court, and also the United States Court of Appeals, and I have litigated cases in all of those courts. As a practicing attorney, I practice both civil and criminal law, and I sort of worked my way up the ladder. I was a special judge for the mentally ill by appointment, and by appointment I was a justice court judge. I was also a city court judge in Port Gibson, and I got blessed. I got elected as a 9th District Chancery Judge, where I was seated in Washington County, and I served 4 years there. I was elected to the Mississippi Court of Appeals, where I served a half term. I actually took the unexpired term of Lester King. And my special memberships, I'm a member of Phi Delta Phi, National Honorary French Society. I'm a lifetime member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Special awards include Teacher of the Year, Outstanding Young Woman of America, and receiving a plaque from Washington County as a 9th District Judge for being compassionate and a true loving person for the children. In other words, I took care of the children. I'm a person that took care of a lot of children through the years. I was guardian ad litem in youth court. I did a lot of defense work in criminal court. And really, my mission was to try to keep the young people out of prison. So I would appreciate your voting consideration on November 5th. Ciela James, the best lady for the job.
All right, thank you again. And so, to both of you guys, your first question is, what legal reforms are necessary in Mississippi, and how would you advocate for them as a Supreme Court justice? You need to repeat it. What legal reforms are necessary in Mississippi, and how would you advocate for them as a Supreme Court justice?
There are many forums that are necessary for Mississippi, but now we have a division in the system. We have the judiciary, we have the legislature. And I would be in the judiciary, so I would not be doing anything to create any laws or anything like that. My job would be to be a fair judge once the case would be appealed to me, and to make sure that I uphold my oath of office, to be fair to the rich as well as to the poor. And the main thing is to read the cases that come before me, because I hate to say it, sometimes I feel like poor people don't get their cases read. So my job would be to render justice on the appeal of the cases that came before me, not to be an advocate or to create laws.
I would agree with Ms. James that we don't, in this position, we don't legislate, but there are a few things that need to be done. Some have been done, one is partially done, and that is trying to get some people out of prison. A law that just passed allows people who have served at least 25% on a nonviolent crime are able to get out. Others are 50 and others are 60%. I have helped a guy who has committed his crime, his sole crime ever, when he was 16 years old on his birthday. His friend got him drunk and they decided to rob a convenience store in South Jackson. And he had never handled a weapon, and he shot the weapon into the ceiling and was robbing somebody that he actually knew. And so his mother found out about it, and then got him to turn himself in. He turned himself in, and the judge decided he needed 2 15-year consecutive sentences. Once I found out about that, she told me about that, I did my best to try to get him out, talking to the head of the Bureau of Prisons and everybody else I could talk. He finally got released. So he did get out. But that law is good, but we've also got the habitual offender law, which needs to be changed. We've got some people who are in prison now for 3 strikes, which I don't understand why we have anything that has to do with baseball in the law. But we need to change that law and let them get out, because they shouldn't be in for a minor drug offense and be in prison for life. That needs to be changed. And I think that's something that's about to be changed.
All right, thank you. And last question, what sets you apart from your candidate?
That's a very excellent question, and I have been asked, why do you think you're the best? I think each of us think we're the best. But the fact is, I can't say what sets me apart from my opponent, because I just met him today, and I have not met the other young lady that's on the ballot. So I like being fair. I would like to tell you what makes me an excellent candidate, but I can't put myself in a comparative degree with someone that I just met. It would be unfair to them, in my opinion. But I think that I would be an excellent person to elect. I have great experience. I love people. I spent most of my life helping poor people, but it was always rewarding. That's my reputation. And I invite you to check my reputation, to view my website on CielaJames from MississippiSupremeCourt.com. And as all of y'all know, the female view is missing, not totally missing from the Supreme Court because we have one white female. We have never had a black female on the Mississippi Supreme Court. And actually, I would like you to know I was the first minority female to win a seat on the Mississippi Court of Appeal. And you do not want to know all the election abuse that I went through. I'm gonna write a book on it. The young women need to know what I went through to win that seat, and how the political groups, once I won it, they wanted it back for one that special that did nothing compared to what I do. You know. Thank you.
One thing that sets us apart is the two of us are here. That would be one thing. We're not somewhere else trying to associate with a political party. It's a non-partisan race, and that's why we're here. Why the two of us are better. I would also say that as far as me, youth and energy, and I've got the youth and the energy ready to take over this position and to handle it and do everything that needs to be done. When I was there before, I wrote opinions. I actually was the first person that the judge I worked for allowed to write opinions. Before that, he didn't do that. He let me do that. He also sent me around. I've always been told I was quiet. You may not think that now, but I've been told I was quiet. And he sent me around to other justices to talk to them and try to convert them and bring them over to his side to join with him in the opinions that he had. The two that I talked to, I remember talking to them, and I actually remember that I did persuade them to come to our side, to join in our opinion. And so I've had the experience of doing that. I've had the experience of writing opinions, and as I said before, I've had the experience of writing, of doing the research and writing briefs in a lot of different courts, Mississippi and Alabama. And again, I'm licensed in Mississippi and Alabama, as well as the federal and state courts in both, as well as the United States Supreme Court. And I tell people this, that my certificate for the United States Supreme Court says that I'm actually live in Jackson, Montana. Somebody there didn't know how to do that, so instead of an MS, they put an MT. And I kept that, and I still have that, just because I think the U.S. Supreme Court makes mistakes too.
Thank you. Give them a round of applause, please. We will be using 10 minutes for the audience to ask questions now. So Jeremy's going to be passing around no cards for whoever wants to ask questions to the candidates.
Candidates will have 45 seconds to respond.
So actually, in the meantime of you guys figuring out those questions, I will be asking some additional questions for the two candidates. So, for the candidates, what steps will you take to ensure equal access to justice for all Mississippians, regardless of their social economic status? Need me to repeat the question?
As I said before, it sounds like it's something small, but really, if a judge upholds his or her oath of office, it takes care of it all. Because we're supposed to do justice to the rich as well as to the poor. And we're not supposed to favor the litigants one over the other one because of their economic status in life. We're not supposed to do that. So I would like for you to know one thing. For all the judgeships that I've had, I've been known as an extremely fair judge. And when I was a young attorney, first starting off, I did a justice court case, and the lady told me, she said, "Baby, you cut off a different cloth." I said, "What did I do?" She said, "You listen to your client, you take time, and you try to get the best remedy And I can tell that you are not all about money. We should not be all about money in these jobs. We should take care of what we're supposed to do and uphold the oath of office.
And I agree that in this position, you mainly have to be fair and impartial. That's part of the canons for being a judge, is to be fair and impartial. That's the first step. And also, one of the areas that's also being worked on is that in court-appointed cases, the defendant who's in those criminal cases are appointed by an attorney. The attorney has gotten to where in a lot of counties they're appearing for them to plead guilty or not guilty, and then they're filing a motion to lower their bond, and then they're left in limbo. We've got to do something better about that, and unfortunately our legislature is trying to handle all the funding and push it to counties. Well, there's counties like where I grew up, Chickasaw County, doesn't have any money. Can't afford to pay attorneys for these people. So we've got to do something statewide to pay for the attorneys and not dump that on the counties to do, in cities, small counties.
All right, we have some few questions here. So it's a kind of similar mindset as the previous question, but why is all the punishment at the bottom, towards the bottom, and the corruption at the top? It makes the city look corrupt. What is your response to this?
You say the punishment is at the bottom and the corruption is at the top? Well, as I just said earlier, I hate to repeat myself, but if a judge is not careful in following his oath, his or her oath, the poor person will always get the worst deal. And when you mention corruption at the top, a lot of times the people that are at the top make poor people feel as if they are exempt from the law, and as if a different book was written for them. So that's why it's incumbent upon us to be fair judges.
Unfortunately, I think I've been around some corruption at times. I can remember one time in Alabama when I was sitting in a group of attorneys at a hearing, and once we got through with the hearing, the judge turned to one of the attorneys and said, "I got somebody that called me about a case. I need to take you back here in chambers and give you the information about this case," which was going to appear in front of that same judge. So I don't know if you'd call that corruption, but I don't think that was exactly fair. I'm not sure how you define that. What word you'd label that with. As far as the other corruption that we have, unfortunately, it's just too easy to take money from people behind their backs, to do things. We've got to do something that oversees what's going on, and that's the only way to eliminate corruption. I don't know if we ever can totally.
Thank you for that. Okay, another response from the audience. Mental illness has become a large issue, specifically in the city of Jackson. What would be a viable solution to help the city/state?
That's also an administrative question, but I'll answer it. I'll address it anyway. As I said earlier, I was judged for the mentally ill, and I'm very much aware of the deficiencies in that area in Warren County. We traditionally did not have a special place for the mentally ill, and then we finally got one. And when we run out of space, we send them to Jackson. So, okay, I was attorney for the mentally ill. I was judge for the mentally ill. So I definitely understand mental illness. And the problem we have now is some of the facilities that were in Jackson have been closed, like the St. Dominic's facility, and it was another major one. They've been closed. So that's a legislative area. We need to get funding to properly place the mentally ill.
And again, this isn't a legislative position, but there are a lot of things that we all see that needs to be done. Building a new youth court jail is something that certainly will help. I keep looking at it and all I see is ground's broken, but eventually it's going to be there. as far as I think this relates to your question. As far as the city of Jackson goes, we hear constantly about how horrible crime is in the city of Jackson. I don't think Jackson's any different from any of the other cities in Mississippi. We have news here that reports it. And so we hear about all that. There are shootings that are going on in Houston, Mississippi, where I grew up. There are shootings that are going on in Brookhaven. There are shootings going on in Hazelhurst and in Crystal Springs. We just hear about it here because we've got the news here. And so our founders and our politicians need to do a better job of telling people about what's going on everywhere.
All right, thank you. We're now going to allow you guys to have your 2-minute closing statements.
Okay, my closing statement is, you have listened to my qualifications, and again, I invite you to view my website at CeolaJames.com. I think I'm an excellent candidate to be elected. I think I would add something towards by being the first elected minority female. And as you know, women do a great job in complimenting men, but men, to me, traditionally, they have better output, a better work ethic, better everything when they are surrounded by women that work with them. Don't you men agree? So listen, they've never had a black woman on the Mississippi Supreme Court. I would add something, and with my experience, it would be wonderful. So if you see fit, vote for Ceola James for Mississippi Supreme Court Justice. Thank you.
I started working when I was 12 years old in the field, and then after that, my dad thought that I guess I was responsible enough for him to hire me. So I started driving a forklift, unloading trucks, loading trucks. Started driving a truck. I've been everywhere around the state of Mississippi. I love the state of Mississippi. What I was going to say earlier, I hadn't even told my wife about this before, only my son, is the odds of winning the lottery are extremely low. But when it gets up to where it's $1 billion, I buy lottery tickets. And when I do that, I don't look and think and go, I wonder what I'm going to buy when I win that, how many houses I can have, how many planes I can have. I start thinking about what I can do for the state of Mississippi and what I can buy. I know that's probably weird to everybody in here, but that's how much I love this state. And I wonder what I can do to spend some money on this state to make it better. It's just the way I think. As far as I'm not female, and I don't pretend to be female, and I can't say today that I am one, but I have my mother and I have 4 older sisters, so I understand the female perspective about things. They would tell you that they raised me and I am who I am because of them. They're probably right, but I understand that perspective. I've got the qualifications to be the justice, the next justice in the Central District. I've worked hard to not only learn the position, but to qualify myself for that position by my education, by the experience that I have in writing briefs, by the time that I spent on the court. The justice who I worked for was Justice Armis Hawkins. He was one of the best justices ever that we've had in Mississippi. I also did work for Roy Noble Lee, who was the Chief Justice. Even though I wasn't his clerk, but he got me to do things for him. I also did some work for Dan Lee while I was there, even though he had his own clerk. So I'm familiar with the position. I'm familiar with what it takes to handle the position, and I'm ready to be elected for that position. I just need your votes. And if you need to know anything else about me, it'll be on votebyroncarter.com. You'll find more information about me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions as well.
Thank you again for these wonderful candidates. Now we're going to bring up the candidates for Hinds County Sub-District 2 Court Judge. So again, similar structure to last time, we will give each candidate a time to give their brief introductions.
Yes, that'll go. You go. Yep, go.
Good evening. I want to thank Mr. Gray and the committee for hosting this forum. I'm Attorney Jimmy Kings, and I'm a candidate for Hinds County Court Judge, Sub-District 2. And I'm running for the seat that was held by the late great Judge Rita Cooper Stokes. I'm a proud son of Sub-District 2 of Georgetown. I'm a graduate of Lanier High School, Tougaloo College, and Thurgood Marshall School of Law. I've practiced law here in Jackson for over 15 years. My law office, Kings and Associates, is located at 2703 Martin Luther King Drive, where I handle personal injury cases, criminal defense outside of Hinds County, as well as family law cases. I currently serve as a youth court prosecutor for Hinds County, as well as a youth court mentor in our Second Chance program. I'm the deputy county prosecutor for Hinds County as well. I have served as a prosecutor for Hinds County for the last 8 years, and prior to that, I was a Hinds County public defender for 4 years. I've handled thousands of cases in the Hinds County Court, and I've sat in every seat in the Hinds County courtroom, from youth court to the county court to the criminal division, as well as the civil division. I believe my courtroom experience in all areas of county court make me uniquely qualified to be the next county court judge. During the course of this forum, I look forward to laying out why I'm the best candidate for this position. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you as well for putting this forum together. My name is Attorney Bridget Morgan. I'm running for Hinds County Court Judge, Sub-District 2. My current job is the attorney for the Jackson Police Department, and what I did there in 2019 was wrote the body camera policy for them. So your officers now have the body cameras because I wrote that policy, and then the Department of Justice approved that policy and then funded that project. Also, on top of that, we have the real-time crime center that was done when I was the police attorney, as well as the camera, the blue light cameras, making the city of Jackson more safer. After that, I started being a prosecutor, and what I want to talk about as a prosecutor, been a public defender before too, but as a prosecutor for the last 5 or 6 years, what I noticed was that young people were coming to the courtroom who were under the age of 18, and they were saying, clear the courtroom out, right? But the news would stay in the courtroom. And so those young people were not afforded those privileges of having their records sealed because they're in the public eye. And so what I'm advocating, what I'm running for is to have those hearings where we have these closed hearings. We can determine if these persons can be rehabilitated or not. If they're not rehabilitated, we can make a move along to adult court. But right now, they're automatically going to adult court when we're losing an entire generation, okay? And so one of the things that I've done, I went down to Job Corps that's in Crystal Springs, and I took a tour there, and I wanted to see, hey, can I actually partner with you should I win the seat? And they said yes. Right now, we don't have any individuals there from Hinds County at our facility. And so what I want to do is attach a condition as a part of a bond. We have to, I don't believe you should punish anyone without having their rehabilitation piece attached to it. It should travel like Siamese twins. And so what I want to do is ensure that those young people are being saved. You go to Job Corps and you get a skill set, and then you come back, right? It takes 1 to 2 years for Job Corps. You get paid, you have somewhere to live, you get funding, all of that. And so we can utilize their resources right down the street for our young people, and we're able to save an entire generation. So that is my platform, and that's why I'm running for Hinds County Court Judge Sub-District 2.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Gray. I believe this is the first time that the three of us have had an opportunity to be in the same space and interact with the public, other than at some community festivals. Ladies and gentlemen, Hinds County deserves an experienced public servant with a track record of providing justice to everyone, regardless of label or stereotype. It starts with respect. Let's face it, no one wants to be in a courtroom, not even most of the lawyers. In my courtroom, you're treated with dignity, respect, patience, and a listening set of ears. You are afforded a meaningful opportunity to present your case, whether you're a lawyer or a citizen. I believe that from my heart, because my roots are Tougaloo College. I moved there at age 6. My father taught me. I went to school there. I grew up on campus, going to church with the Moan and Banks families, and I later married a Moan. My church home was New Hope. on Beasley Road, Pastor Jerry Young. My wife and I have raised 4 children, and tragically, we buried one along with a grandchild. I care about people. I cared about people before I was ever appointed to this seat. I'm gonna care about people after I'm elected to this seat, and I'm gonna care about people till I die. If you want a judge that gives you an opportunity to be heard fairly, impartially, allows you to keep your house, cuts attorney's fees on debt collection, awards damages to those who have been injured and scammed, then I ask you to keep Peter Taylorson as your Hinds County Court civil judge, not youth court, civil judge on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And now for the first question. Can you describe your judicial philosophy and how it will guide your decisions on the bench? You need me to repeat? Can you describe your judicial philosophy and how it will guide your decisions on the bench?
All of you know my judicial philosophy. It's found in the Bible. Micah 6 and 8. The Lord tells us to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before Him. I do justice every day as your Hinds County judge. I believe in mercy, which comes through patience, and I walk humbly before our Lord by making sure everyone else is treated with respect and given their opportunity as well. That's my judicial philosophy, and I invite you to come to Hinds County Civil Court on motion day, bench trial day, or jury trial day, and have an opportunity to see that judicial philosophy from Micah 6:8 in action. Thank you.
I believe that a judge is supposed to be like a referee at a ball game. Just call the balls and the strikes, and you don't care who's going to win or lose. That's my philosophy as a judge. I'm going to come in and apply the law fairly to everybody. I'm not going to be worried about who's going to win, who's going to lose. I'm going to apply the law fairly and give justice to all.
I want to be clear, the Hinds County Court judge has three divisions. They have the civil division, the criminal division, the juvenile division. Judge McDaniels can decide who goes where, right? Louisa Cooper Stokes passed, she was holding the civil seat. That does not mean that whoever wins in this seat will be attributed to the civil seat. Nonetheless, you're also not just tied to the civil part of it. The issues that are going before the court, you have judges who can make you a special judge, right? And those rules are already on the book. So these issues are still an issue. So if someone is saying, okay, I'll be a civil judge, we're not going to do anything else, guess what? You still have young people who are being exposed to the adult court system who should not be there. So as long as you're in the county court jurisdiction, that can be assessed. But my judicial philosophy is this, is to be fair. I'm a part of no cliques. I don't owe anybody any monies. I don't owe anybody any favors. So when I come in, and I'm from the Delta, I say that all the time. When I come in, I can take the facts as they are and apply them to the law, period. That's what I can do. And so I think that it's important that you also acknowledge that one of the biggest things that affects our community is criminal law. You should be, no judge should ever take a seat and take a robe and not have any education on the criminal part of the law. And so that's what really affects us. So we need to be very educated on what the law is and be able to apply it to the facts. So it's simple, to be fair.
All right, thank you for that. And what sets you apart from your candidates?
I believe my experience sets me apart from my opponents, and specifically my experience in the Hinds County Court. As I said earlier, I've handled thousands of cases in the Hinds County Court, and I've been working in the Hinds County Court for over 12 years, 4 years as a public defender, 8 years as a prosecutor. And like I said earlier, I've sat in every seat in the courtroom. I've worked as a youth court prosecutor. I've been a youth court defense attorney. I've also been a youth court mentor. I've been a county prosecutor prosecuting the felony criminal cases in county court, and I've also been a Hinds County public defender defending felony cases in county court. On the civil side, I've been a plaintiff's attorney, suing businesses, individuals, million-dollar corporations, and I've represented businesses, individuals, corporations, school districts, government entities, when they were being sued by businesses and individuals. So I have the right experience in all the areas that the county court handles, and I've handled, again, thousands of cases as an attorney in the county court.
What sets me apart is that I have current trial experience. I've tried over 1,563 cases this year, right, in this past year. Federal court this year in January, state court this year in February. The rest of my cases have happened in the municipal court. We had trial every day. It's important that when you're in court every day and you're going to trial every day, that you're developing these skills to be able to think quickly on your feet, right? And that's what judges, so you don't have to have people waiting a long time for you to report their motion or have a judgment. And so you want somebody who has actual trial experience, relevant trial experience. Not only that, my job is to prevent the Jackson Police Department from being sued. So currently I am the civil attorney for the Jackson Police Department. But when I'm not doing that, I also defend people across the state of Mississippi. I have a current case of, I won't say the court, but that case is up for appeal right now. And I think earlier they talked about corruption, and that case was a part of some corruption that happened there. But you want a judge that is very relevant, that has current trial court experience, that has current life experience. I've sat in every seat in the courtroom, including the seat where a family member has been convicted of a crime. And I've sued people before, and I've been sued before. And so I understand all of the areas of the law, and I'm ready to start practicing on day one.
Looks like we're all giving the same answer to this one. It's experience. 34 years of law practice in the state of Mississippi. I've been the city attorney. Mayor Melton trusted me as his litigation counsel. Mayor Johnson and Mayor Lumumba Sr. trusted me as city attorney. I've been the Hinds County board attorney. I started my practice with Isaac K. Burroughs. I've had the blessing of achieving some of the largest trial verdicts in the state of Mississippi on behalf of plaintiffs and injured. I've done it all. I've been a special circuit judge. I've been a youth court prosecutor. I've been the boss of this position that she holds now. With all due respect, I hit the ground running. I've had as many jury trials this year where I've sat as my opponents claim they've tried. I've picked more jurors than these two put together. I've made sure that everybody has a fair opportunity to sit on a jury in Hinds County dozens of times this year. You can go to my website, keepjudget.com. You can see my experience. You can compare all three of us. But I have one thing I have to emphasize. For 22 years, I've served as a volunteer appointed by the Supreme Court on the Mississippi Board of Bar Admissions. I signed her license. I was vice chair when Mr. King came through. With all due respect, I've opened more doors to allow more minorities and more women to become lawyers in the last 22 years than at any point in the history of this state. You want to talk about experience? It's more than experience. It's making sure experience gets results. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, questions from the audience? So, if the candidate does not have any experience with eminent domain, how can or what measures would they establish to fairly compensate the owner? Need me to repeat?
Yes, please.
Okay. If the candidate does not have any experience with eminent domain, how can or what measures would they establish to fairly compensate the owner?
All right, so I don't think anybody up here knows every law that exists in the state of Mississippi. But what I would expect from every candidate here is that if you're not well versed in the area, certainly before you hear a case, you're going to research the law and research the rules before you make a ruling on that case. So if a case came before me and it was a matter that I have not handled before, I'm going to research the law on that matter before I rule on the case.
And I agree with Attorney Yemi Kings. I have not done eminent domain, and so I would do the same thing, research the law in that case. make sure, look at the value of the property that has been taken over. Eminent domain means that, for example, Dollar General decided your property was the best property to put a new store at. That's what eminent domain means. So you get to come into county court and sue and say, no, you don't get to come to my property. And so this is the real short answer of that. But like you said, you would definitely assess the facts and apply the law, the current law to it.
Now we get some separation. I've represented plaintiffs in eminent domain cases where the government has taken their property, and I've ensured my clients are properly compensated. I've represented the government when the government is taking property as city attorney for the city of Jackson. And as your current Hinds County Court civil judge, I have already had an eminent domain trial this year involving a parcel of property in Utica for a bridge project. If the government wants to take your property, the first question is, do they really have to take your property? If not, they shouldn't have it. The second question becomes, if the first is a yes, how do you get proper compensation? Here, it is important to have enough experience. Fair enough.
All right. Because it is harder for people to afford a lawyer, truth doesn't always seem to be easy. Running on the court system, what's a judge if they can be bought? It's kind of hard. Yes. So, because it's harder for people to afford a lawyer, truth doesn't always seem to be running in favor of the court system. What's a judge if they can be bought?
They can be bought. If they can be bought. I think you're going to change the question.
We're going to change the question.
Okay, go.
As an attorney for the Jackson PD, have you encountered the blue wall of silence?
No, not as the attorney for Jackson Police Department attorney, no, because they're obviously very honest and open with me, and that's one of the things that's important running for the seat, that you already have relationships with law enforcement, relationships with the court system and the clerks. But have I seen the blue wall of silence? Yes. As a public defender and as a defense attorney, I have seen the blue wall of silence. The case I was telling y'all about a moment ago with the corruption that happened that's going up for appeal. This officer signed his own warrant, and the guy got arrested. Now, you know, judges are supposed to sign warrants. The officer signed his own warrant. The lead investigator did not call him out on it, and we got to trial. He said, "Oh, I don't even know what's going on." And so, but they kicked the thing down the bucket. So now we're trying to appeal the case. But yes, I have experienced that, not as the attorney, but as the defense attorney. Oh, so you're back on that.
I have experienced the blue wall of silence. I've worked as both a public defender and then I work as a prosecutor. And the interaction I have with police officers are totally different on each side. As a public defender, I found it a lot harder to get information from police officers. Oftentimes, they will not want to speak with me about the facts of the case. But now as a prosecutor, I have no problem getting information from the officers, and it's a totally different interaction.
There's no group of people that is perfect. There are good law enforcement officers. There are others that are corrupt. Jesus couldn't find 12. No law enforcement is without a blue wall as well. It is up to all of us to put our experience together, make sure we have the relationships and knowledge, that we understand the difference between an officer telling them the truth, an officer making a mistake, and an officer who intentionally violates someone's rights. I've successfully defended law enforcement for years. I've also successfully sued law enforcement, with my most recent plaintiff settlement coming last year before I was appointed to the bench. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we will be going into closing statements for each of you of the candidates.
This race has been interesting. There's been a lot of side issues. I know I've been attacked for who appointed me to the position. I've been attacked because my name is difficult to say, my voice sounds funny, and there are questions about the way I look. But all that's a diversion from what's really important. What's really important is what kind of justice is occurring in Hinds County Court. Now, with all due respect, Mississippi Code Section 9-9, make sure I get it right, -15 subsection 3 said there's going to be 3 divisions of the court. Judge McDaniels is not going to change these divisions. Judge Hicks is the youth court judge. I suggest you run against her on the youth court issues. Judge McDaniels has said he's keeping the criminal docket. Whomever you elect is going to be your civil judge. I am the only candidate who has all the experience necessary and has already, for 9 months, demonstrated that I can deliver justice for people and the community just as justice occurs for corporations and those who have money. It's about experience that gets results and treats everybody fairly and opens the courthouse doors. Come see how I do it. I'm inviting the public, inviting everyone to come see how justice occurs. Thank you.
Again, I want to thank Mr. Gray and the committee for hosting this forum. Let's be clear. My opponent, he said he handles the civil docket. He does sign search warrants. He does sign arrest warrants. He does handle the criminal docket. He handles criminal cases. He fills in for the criminal docket. He handles criminal cases. So criminal experience is relevant to this seat. I have demonstrated that I have articulated that I have relevant experience in county court in all 3 areas that the county court handles, which is youth court, criminal division, and the civil division. I have demonstrated my commitment to this district as a community stakeholder. I live in this district. I'm a resident of this district, and I have significant community service in this district. Lastly, I've demonstrated that I will effectively and efficiently run this Hinds County Court. I believe that we in Sub-District 2, we do deserve a judge that lives in our district and is from our district. That's exactly what we have with Judge Stokes. A vote for Yemi Kings is going to be a vote for a qualified candidate that is from your community. A vote for Yemi Kings is a vote for a qualified candidate that works in your community. And a vote for Yemi Kings is a vote for a qualified candidate that actually lives in your community. So I'm asking for your prayers, your support, and your vote on November the 5th. I'm asking you to vote for me, Attorney Yemi Kings, for County Court Judge.
Again, Attorney Bridget Morgan, running for Hinds County Court Judge, Sub-District 2. One of the things that was not touched on tonight, but should have been evident, is that in order to be a good and effective judge, you need to have the temperament to be a judge, right? And the temperament means that when people come into the courtroom and they have issues, that you remain impartial, you remain stoic, so to speak, and not emotional. And I think what we've seen here multiple times is my opponent, I'm not sure what the issue may have been, but the opponent next to me has pointed at my face several times. And that speaks to the temperament. I'm not really particularly sure where that comes from in terms of us running this race, but I believe, I'm naive enough to believe that you can run for a position and not be enemies. This is a public service job, right? And I believe what you see here is true passion, true temperament, and true gust for the people. And so vote for Attorney Bridget Morgan on November the 5th. Thank you.
Thank these candidates again. Now we will have the final remaining candidates come up, which is Ron Eller for House of Representatives, Todd Pickens for Senate, and Jeremy Gray for Election Commissioner. Thank you. All right, and just like before, each candidate will give their brief introduction representing themselves to the audience.
Two minutes.
Hello, my name is Ron Eller, and it is my honor and privilege to be here to speak with you this evening. I probably need to give you a little background about myself. I'm not originally from Mississippi. I am Mississippi by choice. I've lived in Mississippi longer than anywhere in my life. I've lived in the 2nd Congressional District since December of 2002, when my wife and our 2 sons moved here. And prior to living in Mississippi, I grew up in a small single-family home with my mother as a single parent. In my childhood, I've lived in every state on the East Coast. I lived in Canada. I joined the military. And in my time in the military, I spent 6 years in the South Pacific, Panama, Egypt, Israel, 3 years in Germany. During that time frame, I went through pay grades of E1 to E7, so I was a squad leader, a platoon sergeant. I became a warrant officer, and I eventually retired as a captain. During my time in the military, I had such accolades bestowed on me as becoming Soldier of the Year for Trade Force on Fort Wayne, Georgia. I was also selected as Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year. I was selected as Outstanding in West Virginia. I had a very great military career. I finished high school on active duty. I left the military with 2 college degrees. I lived that commercial, be all you can be. When my wife and I left the military, we came to Mississippi. They needed to start a heart surgery program in Vicksburg. In my day job, I'm a PA. My wife says that stands for a pain somewhere, but that's a physician assistant. I'm also a perfusionist and run a heart bypass machine. But I see I'm running out of time, but I'm running for Congress now because we need change in America. The political elite wish to divide us, and we can't have that because we're all Americans, and that's the adjective that we need to use going forward. And I'm asking for your vote on November 5th, and I hope to continue to talk with you later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I am so grateful to see all of you in this audience. I'm even more grateful to have the opportunity to speak before you all. My name is Jeremy Gray, like the country with a J. Hopefully you've been seeing some of my yard signs around right now. Green is my color, so I hope you find it a little bit memorable. I am running to be your next Hinds County District 3 Election Commissioner. I'll be quick. I'm from South Jackson. I went to the best high school. Where High School? Well. Oh, I said we may have some other people who may disagree. Callaway, Seaway, I guess. I went to the illustrious Bill University in New Orleans, Louisiana, where I got a bachelor's degree in political science. And I am currently at the Jackson State University, pursuing a master's degree. Yes. Yes, I love a good cheap pipe. Where I'm pursuing a master's degree in public policy and public administration. I was inspired to run for this office because of the ballot shortage that happened last year. Hopefully you all remember it, but if you don't, during the last general election, which was our governor's race, which means it was a very important election, we experienced a massive ballot shortage in Hinds County. And after the ballot shortage, the commission, they met and they said that this issue occurred because of a mistake. And during this time, especially with all the elections that are coming up soon, we can't afford for mistakes like that to happen again. And so I remember I spoke before the commission, I said that they need to restore the faith of the people and the ability of the commission to do their job. And I thought to myself, as you may be noticing my personality, why would I tell them to do something that I can do myself? And so like with this event, I want to be the change for this community because Hinds County truly does deserve better. Thank you for your time. I look forward to answering more questions.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, thank you to Jeremy for putting this together. I love to see our young people participate in the process. This is absolutely wonderful. My name is Ty Pinkins. I am a veteran. I served 21 years on active duty, 3 combat tours, over 36 months at war. I am a lawyer. I earned my JD, my law degree, as well as my LLM, my master's in law, from the Georgetown University Law Center. I'm a proud son of the Mississippi Delta, and I am your Democratic nominee for United States Senate. Here's why I am running for this seat. Because our state deserves better representation on the federal level. We deserve someone that's going to fight for better jobs and a stronger economy in Mississippi. We deserve somebody that's going to fight for better health care in our state. And we deserve somebody that's going to fight for our children in our state. That is why I'm running. Because I fundamentally disagree that women should not choose their own and make their own health care decisions. I fundamentally disagree with that women should not make their own health care decisions. We saw recently the overturn of Roe v. Wade, where we had men in suits and men in robes sitting behind a bench telling women that they know more about their bodies than they do. That is the main reason I'm running. You see every election cycle, whether it's for governor, for House of Representatives, for United States Senate, and people will ask that candidate, what's your stance on women's reproductive freedoms, abortion rights? And they straddle the line like they're riding a horse. They'll go to this community and say they are pro-life, and they'll go to that community and say they're pro-choice. I am proud to be pro-choice, but I'm pro-woman first. I am pro-woman because I am pro-choice for that pro-life woman to make her own pro-life decision for herself, and for that pro-choice woman to make her own pro-choice decision for herself, among other things. And I'm sure we'll get to that, but thank you so much for coming out and listening to me. I can't wait to answer y'all's questions.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to answer this according to what y'all are running for. So first we're going to go with Ron. So what are your top priorities for fostering economic development and job creation in Mississippi?
Economic development in Mississippi. That's a strange topic. Because when you look at the 2nd Congressional District, the 2nd Congressional District is the poorest district in the nation. There are 30 counties that compose the 2nd Congressional District. 16 of those counties are in the top 100 poorest counties in the nation. 5 are in the top 10 poorest counties in the nation. And we've had a lot of opportunity, but there have been decades and decades of mismanagement of the 2nd Congressional District. The Yazoo Backwater Project, or Yazoo Pump Project, would be a classic example. Just 2 years ago, my opponent went to the EPA and got that project shut down. That project would have increased the crop yield within the 2nd Congressional District. That would have stopped flooding within people's homes. And by having a third crop in the 2nd Congressional District, that would allow more economic growth for the state. Mississippi depends on agriculture as its #1 industry. It employs 17.1% of the state, and it brings in over $8 billion in revenue for the state. But not only do we need to talk about the agricultural piece, but we need to look at how do we retain our youth here. We train people to become doctors, lawyers, nurses, tradesmen, and they move on. We need to keep these people in our state. Thank you. Not about.
Thank you. All right, for Germany, can you describe your judicial philosophy? Oh wait, no, wrong question, sorry. How do you plan to recruit and train a diverse and capable group of poll workers for your future elections?
Thank you for that question. I'll say that question is very timely for me because today I attended a poll worker training where I was able to firsthand see all of the things that our poll workers need to know and exactly what that job would require. I had experience as a former poll worker, but I will say that was in Louisiana. And in Mississippi, we definitely do things a little bit different. And so part of that though, with the poll worker recruitment, because we do things so differently, we struggle with recruiting qualified poll workers. Right now, I'll say our commission, they don't have any social media pages. They barely have they have a website, but it gets updated pretty slowly. And so that to say that we struggle with actually reaching people. As election commissioner, my main goal will be utilizing every avenue to reach people. First off, with social media, I'm a little bit younger, as you might be able to tell. And so, yes, I'm very good with social media. And so it looks like then a Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, things of that nature, because I'll say from my time alone, it's just from running as a candidate in this race, I posted about our search for poll workers. And that alone has attracted people to reach out to me and be like, oh wow, I didn't know about this process. And part of the problem is that people barely know how to sign up to be a poll worker, and if they do, it's very hard for that process to be done. And so I will work to reach more people, especially younger people, because there are people out there who want to serve, but they just need to know how. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, and for Mr. Ty Pickens, what economic policies will you champion to ensure sustainable growth and address income inequality in Mississippi?
That's an excellent question. I've been doing this for 20 months now, and I've been to every county in the state, all 82 counties, and the first question I ask people is, how many people in here are sick and tired of our state always being the last state to do the right thing? We've been last in economic development and job creation for as long as all of us have been alive. And part of it is because we focus, or people like my opponent, Senator Roger Wicker, they focus on half of our state and they ignore the other half. East of I-55 and west of I-55 gives different types of attention. And if we want our state to move from last in job creation and economic development, we have to focus west of I-55, making sure that not only we bring jobs and create a stronger economy here in our capital city of Jackson, but also take a look at the Mississippi Delta and make sure that we're creating better jobs and a stronger economy there because it affects the whole state. We can't keep looking at places like Madison County is great, but you're the richest county in the state. We have to make sure we focus on other counties as well. Sharkey County, Hinds County, which has so much promise. Jackson, Mississippi could be an economic powerhouse if it was adequately invested in. So working at the next United States Senator on the federal level, making sure I'm doing my part from the federal level to ensure that economic injections of energy get invested in Jackson, Mississippi, in west of I-55.
All right, thank you so much for that. And while your opponents aren't here right now, answer how you set yourself apart from every other candidate.
Well, unfortunately, Benny's not here, and that doesn't surprise me. So I guess I need to go ahead and throw down the gauntlet. Benny Thompson, I will challenge you to a debate right here, right now. I can say I'm not a great debater. I've never won a debate in my life. I've been married 45 years, and believe me, I've lost every one of those debates. But the things that set me apart from Benny is that I have a lot of experience. I spent 20 plus years in the military on active duty. I'm a healthcare worker. I work as a PA in cardiac surgery at St. Dominic's Hospital. I've also been a perfusionist running a heart bypass machine. I'm a small business owner. I own a business called Buckwater Enterprises, making hunting-related products. I have worked both private and public sector jobs. I've worked in the Jackson Medical Mall right here. I've worked at UMC. I've worked at St. Dominic's. I've been taking care of you and your families, your husbands, your wives, your grandparents for 20 plus years now. I care about Mississippi and I care about you, and I will do the best job for you. That's not been the case that we've seen in the past. We've seen people putting their self-interest and those of their cronies and their nepotism and stuff ahead of those people that they're supposed to be representing. I need your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Let me start off with a question. How many of you know who the Hinds County District 3 election commissioner is right now? Any show of hands? Yeah, I had to look for him. Unfortunately, a lot of you do not know my opponent, but I'll tell you a little bit about him. I have a nickname for him. It's Jack. Jack stands for Jamal Absent Clark. You know, I'm a little young, but I do remember some things, and I remember that song from Ray Charles. And he went a little, hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more. Unfortunately for y'all, my opponent, he came, got y'all's votes, and guess what he did? He hit the road and he never came back. And you know, it's one thing to be absent at this forum, but I want to tell you about how my opponent has been absent in the community. In District 3, we have faced a number of issues. And with the commission as a whole, we have faced a number of issues. With the ballot shortage, he was absent. We didn't hear anything from him. When the party, or when the commission said that they were not gonna work the primary elections, we didn't hear anything from him. When our supervisor in the Hinds County District 3 said that she wanted to close some precincts, we didn't hear anything from him. And that's because he has a pattern of being absent. Jack doesn't know how to be present with you all. And as the next commissioner, I will be the one who shows up for you. Thank you.
So So the question was, what separates me from my opponent? You looking at it, he's not here. I think the most important thing that an elected official can do and a candidate can do is show up to talk to community members and ask them for their vote. If you are willing, right now is dinner time. Some of you have families and children, and you're willing to come here today, and someone that you are paying does not respect you enough to show up to an event that you set up for him in the capital city, that says a lot about a politician. He's had 4 opportunities to debate me. I'm a rookie. I've never held office in my life. He's been in office for 16 years. He's supposed to show up and wipe the floor with me. But he doesn't respect his constituents enough to show up and 1, tell them what he stands for, 2, ask you for your vote, and 3, tell them what he's going to do for you in the future. That's what separates me from my opponent. Healthcare. He wants to kill the Affordable Care Act that makes it possible for the state of Mississippi to expand Medicaid, even though we still got Tate Reeves denying it. Feeding our children. He voted against the money that got sent to Mississippi to feed our kids over the summer that Tate Reeves sent back to Washington, D.C. Education. He wants to send public school dollars to private schools, which will hurt our children right here in Mississippi. There are so many things that separate us, but the thing that I hold dear to my heart is the importance of talking to you face to face and asking you for your vote. Thank you so much.
All right, and so now we're obviously taking questions from the audience. If you need a cue card, please let someone know. But I think this is a question for all of you guys that can answer. Income equality, how will you be able to get jobs back into Hinds County versus other counties like Madison?
You know, when you look across Hinds County, and particularly Jackson, we see business after business leaving Hinds County. I would talk to the general manager of Mercedes-Benz plant or dealership when it was moving. I don't own a Mercedes, never have, probably never will. But I asked him why they were moving, and he told me because of taxes. $2.7 million a year savings by moving 4.5 miles up the street. I talked to the folks at Puckett, asked them why they were moving. They said they were saving $80 million a year by moving to Rankin County. We cannot tax our way to prosperity, and we're running businesses out of Hinds County by trying to do that. We need that kind of change. We need change in our education system to allow our children to grow up. I'm out of time, sorry.
That's a great question. I think it starts with understanding that Jackson in general, our capital city, deserves to be respected. This city should be one of the most prosperous cities in our state, but it hasn't been adequately invested in. 30 seconds already, but it hasn't been adequately invested in. But on the federal level, making sure that I'm promoting policies and voting on policies to help Kamala Harris make sure that we invest in counties like Hinds County, in Jackson, Mississippi, to improve the infrastructure, to take care of some of these empty buildings here and turn them into businesses. When there's a factory that needs to be, that we want to put in Mississippi, why can't it be put in Hinds County? Why can't it be put right here in Jackson? Why does it always have to go up north or down south or just another county over?
All right, and I think this is towards Germany, but it can be answered by all of y'all. So how do you expect to reach those that aren't on social media, that don't use their phones too often?